Energy forms. One of the most amazing, probably the single most amazing development in the Western Hemisphere was electricity. The first in the world to discover electricity. This is going way back to the ancient Mosh, 1200 BC, and where they began to develop some of these processes. But by the early ADs, they actually had an electroplating industry. So this cannot be overestimated. What a monumental achievement that is, to be able to discover electricity and actually be able to repeat the processes in their laboratories and then create an electroplating industry, which is really what they did. Petroleum in North America, similar situation as to what happened with many indigenous inventions and discoveries and introductions and giving gifts to the world and contributing to our civilization, is it goes unrecognized and they don't get really much credit for this. Petroleum's a great example. Edwin Drake is credited with discovering petroleum in North America, but 400 years before, the indigenous were drilling, and they had a complex pattern of these drilling holes with wood timbers supporting these 20-foot holes, carbon dated back to the 1400s, and obviously a fairly elaborate system for collecting this oil seeping out of the ground. And some Western cultures a couple thousand years ago had asphalt, so that's somewhat related to that, but they built an entire town and a little civilization around asphalt and trading with all the other cultures as using it for sealants for their canoes and a lot of other uses. Now, not just energy forms, but metals as well too. Now, gold and silver is what colonialism was all about. That's what the conquest was all about. It was looking for gold and looking for silver, which they ended up finding lots of it. Now, they looted much of it, and they mined a lot of it as well too. But the treasuries of Europe were enriched by that, and that's going back 400 or 500 years ago, and has impacted world history completely, right up to today. The fact that the amount of money that poured into European treasuries was basically looted and stolen from the Western Hemisphere. Now, they invented the sintering of metals. Platinum, which wasn't worked in Europe well up into the 1800s, cannot be melted by any means that we have until possibly recently. But through the sintering of metals, which they invented in Ecuador, they combined gold and platinum together, and platinum is the hardest metal and the rarest metal on Earth. And they were working with platinum back well before the Europeans came here, and they did this sintering of metals, combining gold and platinum to be able to lower the melting point just enough to work with platinum.